Hang on. Was I just invited to a girl's room after hours? Is that even allowed? There is the curfew here, but I've never heard any rules about visitors in the dorm rooms. Even still, this is enough to get my sleep-deprived brain jump-started. Add that to a lukewarm breakfast, and you have one hell of a pick-me-up. I grudgingly go to class, still a little excited at the prospect of breaking the rules. I feel a little like a kid planning to sneak out of his window at night. Well, maybe that's going a little too far, but when you compare an invitation to a party of 6 or so hours of lectures, I know which one wins. Misha and Shizune do little to relieve my boredom either. For once, they seem determined to actually complete Muto's assignments. Nevertheless, the day eventually winds to a close. I hurry back to my room to wash up and comb my hair. Thankfully, I don't run into Kenji. Before long, I'm leaving the boys' dorm. I nervously rap on the door marked 225, checking my watch once again. Is that you, Hisao? The door is open. You can come in. Lilly's voice lilts through the door and soothes my nerves. This is the first time I've been invited to a girl's room after dark. Even though I know there's no ulterior motive behind this invitation, it doesn't stop my mind running wild with possibilities. One guy, 2 girls, in a dorm room, with a tea set. When I put it like that, it sounds a little dodgy. Giving a small sigh to steady myself, I gingerly put my hand on the handle and opened the door, craning my head to see inside. The door opens completely, and I catch my first glimpse of Lily's room. Her furniture looks almost antique, but the bare walls and flat surfaces are barely decorated at all. In the center of the room sits a low table where I see a small tea set at rest. It seems that everything in this room has a place, possibly excepting the several piles of books stacked up against the wall. My sense of vision isn't the only one to be stimulated. The faint smell of something can be picked up on the air. Nail polish, perfume, makeup. It's hard to describe in any way other than girly. My eyes finish their quick sweep of the room before returning to their position and to the girls. Lilly sits next to the small table wearing very dark blue pajamas. Dark blue pajamas with shorts that show off plenty of her alluring pale legs. Opposite her, Hanako sits adorned in a conservative light pink gown. Her hands are firmly fixed between her legs, her shoulders forward and her head down as if trying to hide herself in it. It would be easy for her to do. It looks about 2 sizes too big for her. Waves of flannel flow from her frame, making her look like a child playing dress-up in her parents' clothes. She looks up to confirm my identity, and the beginnings of a thin smile creep across her face, before vanishing so fast that I can't be sure they were even there. There's no point in you standing in the doorway, Hisao, Lilly says. I take a step into the room, closing the door behind me. My, I'm afraid this really is a small room for the 3 of us. Would you like to take a seat? I slowly walk to the table and sit down, trying my hardest not to disturb anything along the way. I also can't help but steal a quick glance into Lily's top as I sit. To be robbed of sight would be a most terrible fate. Well now, how about some tea? Hanako, could you please pour? Sure. Hisao, Would you like? I would love some tea. Do you need a hand? No, I'm Fine. Thank you. Lily finds it difficult to resist a smile at her companion's nervousness, something I can't really blame her for. Been a tiring day, I say? Yeah. I relax at my place opposite of the cabinet. To my left is the blue-clad Lily, and to my right sits the pink Hanako. The tea set on the table looks cute as well as practical, painted red with a floral motif. It looks odd when contrasted with Lily's plain but generally sophisticated-looking furniture, which leads me to think that Hanako might have picked it out. There's a slight ting when Hanako accidentally clips the teapot on a cup as she is pouring. She breathes in sharply. She must be really nervous, as it's not the kind of thing anyone would worry about. Hanako quivers at her mistake. It's okay, Hanako, Lily says. There's no need to be nervous. Hanako seems to find some confidence in Lily's reassuringly soft-spoken words and deftly pours the next 2 cups. Here you are, Hisao. Lily. Hanako carefully places a cup and saucer in front of Lily and myself. I could get used to service like this. Thank you, Hanako. Yeah, thanks, I say. You're welcome. Lily searches for her cup, and upon finding it, sips delicately. I do the same. This tea tastes somewhat better than the tea we usually have at school. This is nice, I say. It's so different from any tea I had before. Lily says, Looks like you picked the right one, Hanako. You've done well, even if it was a bold move. Hanako's smile returns, redoubled. Even with her blighted face, her shy smile couldn't be called anything but cute. I'm glad you like it, she says. Hanako, finally beginning to relax, sips from her cup. Something about this makes me think about Lily's question at breakfast. Why am I friends with Hanako? Lily seems genuinely concerned for Hanako's well-being, but it's not like I can do anything to help her. As far as I can tell, her scars don't hold her back physically, and everyone I've met seems to have overcome their disabilities to some extent. I don't have any ulterior motives to hang out with Hanako. We just share similar interests. Isn't that enough? So, Hisao, are you enjoying yourself? Lily says. Her words break me out of my reverie, and I take a second to reconsider where I am. I'm in a room with 2 girls in their bedclothes. This is something to be enjoyed. Yeah, it's relaxing, I say, almost like I'm not in the school anymore. Do you do this often? Quite often, but not as often as we take tea in the school building. Considering they do that nearly every day, that's not a big surprise. As I move to take another sip from my teacup, I find it sadly empty. That was delicious, I say. Thank you, Hanako. Lily. You're welcome. Yes, you are most welcome, Hisao. It's nice to have a third person here. Well, anytime you need someone to fill that position, I'm always available. Always. One must be sure to get one's point across in these circumstances. Lily lets loose a yawn, which she unsuccessfully hides with her hand. Pardon me, I think I'm a little tired. I think we're all a little tired, Hanako says. My, how astute we are tonight, Hanako. We really should head to bed. We all have class tomorrow. Yeah, I should go. Thank you for your presence, Hisao. Thanks, Hanako says. You'll come again? Not even a whole army could stop me, I assure them. I'm impressed by your determination, Hisao. Either way, you're right, I answer her. We'd best get going. I stand up and make for the door. Hanako gingerly stands up behind me. I stop and face her. Are you coming with me? Hanako instantly blossoms into full blush. No, not. This room isn't. It's okay, I tell her. I was only joking. Oh, okay. Good night. Good night, Hanako. Good night, Hisao. Night all. And with that, our tea party finishes. I'm still not sure what it is that Lilly wants me to do for Hanako, but I don't want to let her down. I wait until the doors close behind us before turning to Hanako. Hey Hanako, you don't have to be nervous around me or anything. I mean, we're friends, right? Right. We're friends, she says. If you ever want to hang out or anything, just let me know. We still need to have that chess rematch, remember? Sure, she says. But I don't think you'll win. It wouldn't be any fun if it was easy, I tell her. Hanako seems to give a muted laugh, but she could just as easily have been exhaling. Good night, Hisao. With that, Hanako quickly retreats into her room located next to Lilly's. I start to walk back to my dorm, but the simple act of walking seems to drain me of my energy. I barely make it to my room before I'm hit by a wave of exhaustion. I kick off my shoes, fall into bed, and fall asleep by the time my head hits the pillow. Okay, you'll remember that we had a decision page where the dynamic duo, the student council twins, asked us if we would like to go and work with them in the afternoon. And Hanako at the same time was asking us to go to the library, all before the tea party here. We chose Hanako the first time, and we went and sat with her for a couple hours and looked through a roller coaster book. So now we'll show the scene that happens if you decide to go and work for the student council instead. Oh, relax. This won't take long. Sorry, Hanako, you were saying? I was going to go to the library and I thought... Hanako's thumbs dance around each other and her eyes flit around the room, looking everywhere but at us. Sorry, Hanako, but Hisao has to come with us. He's got work to do. Shizune signs. Oh, but you can help too if you'd like. So, how about it, Hisao? What do you say, Hanako? If we all help, it shouldn't take long at all. Hanako's fidgeting answers my question before she can even form the words. I really need to go. Well, that was to be expected. Looks like it's just me and the council girls again. It's easier to resign myself to another afternoon's work in the small council office. I'll catch up with you later, okay? I tell her. Oh, okay. Right, now that the farewells are over, it's work time. Misha and Shizune frog march me to the student council office, never once letting go of my shoulders. I feel a little bad for ditching Hanako like this, but if this is the price of getting Misha off her back, so be it. So then, what are we up to today, I ask. Debrief. Huh? Isn't that supposed to happen after something, I say? Yep, we have to collate all the information from the festival so that Shi-chan can debrief the teachers. Shizune drops a large pile of paperwork on the desk in front of me and smiles succinctly. You need to sort those out into 2 piles. One for the financial stuff like receipts, one for feedback, one for positive feedback, maybe one for things that look like they could be problems next year, one for problems that probably won't be able to fix. That's a few more than 2 piles, I say. Huh? Oh, right. Yeah, I thought it would be only 2 piles. My bad. Right. While I'm doing this, what will you two be doing? Well, we missed lunch because we were collecting all these reports, so we're gonna go get some food. Why didn't you just sort them out while you were collecting them, I think? Thankfully, my self-defense mechanism kicks in and prevents me from opening my mouth and further worsening my situation. Eh? How is that fair? Shizune signs again. I was fretting over the unfair distribution of work so much that I didn't notice that Shizune had kept on signing. If it weren't for Misha's outburst, I probably wouldn't have noticed at all. Shizune seems to be delivering a fairly long string of commands to Misha, and none of them look pleasant. Reaching a conclusion, Misha signs briefly back to Shizune and then sits down at the desk next to me. Shizune waves to both of us before disappearing out the door. What was all that about? I asked Misha. Shi-chan was worried that you'd get it all wrong unless you were supervised. And since she can't tell you how you are messing things up, she's making me stay. Aw, bummer. I wanted to go with Shi-chan. But she is going to bring us back some food. How good is that? Misha's flippancy is out of this world. From down in the dumps to on top of the world over some calories. It's hard to imagine how anyone could operate at that level. Well, it could have been worse, I say. So, what are we supposed to be doing? Collation. I gathered that. Well, let's just start making piles. We'll work out what the piles mean later. Right. We start to separate all the papers into increasingly complex piles. At first, it's just simple categories: financial, feedback, incident reports. Then they split apart into the good and bad reports, and further still, until it starts to look like we've just thrown the papers onto the desk. This is hopeless, I say. Huh? Why? We're doing what we were told, right? Yes, but it looks like we're just making a mess. No, I think we've got a lot done. Shi-chan will be able to work out the rest from here. So I think we can stop about here then. It's almost as if Misha's common sense left the room with Shizune. Still, there's no point in arguing. Anyway, what's the deal with you and Hanako? Deal? You were hanging out with her today, weren't you? Have there been any fireworks? Any gossip that you're withholding from me? If I told you about my own circumstances, it wouldn't be gossip, would it? I guess not. We're just friends, I guess. Why are you so interested? I thought you and Shizune don't like her. It's not really like that. You know Shi-chan and Lilly don't get along well. And since you can't really get Hanako away from Lilly, we don't talk to her much. But that doesn't mean that I can't be concerned for her. What is there to be concerned about, I ask. Well, she never hangs out with anyone else, right? It's no good, Hi-chan. If Shizune and Lilly dislike each other because their personalities are different, then I hate to think how Misha and Hanako would get along. I mean, in one way or the other, we're all in the same boat here, right? Well, I guess, I say. This one time, when she left class halfway through, Shi-chan went to the teacher and asked what was going to be done about it. He said that every student here has special needs and that Shi-chan shouldn't worry herself about it. Hanako never does any group work, she just runs off. Isn't that enough to be concerned about? I I guess you're right, I say. She still hardly says a word when we're talking. Well, that's more than I've been able to do. Shi-chan and I both tried when she started, but she got scared and ran off. I consider telling Misha that exactly the same thing happened with me, but she seems caught up in thought. Listening to Misha without Shizune's influence is interesting. I think she needs to realize that people here don't care what she looks like and that she can trust us. If she could, I'd feel a lot better about her. I think this is the longest I have watched Misha without seeing her sign. When she's with Shizune, she is constantly waving her hands about, explaining the world to Shizune. That amount of effort probably places a strain even on an agile mind. And let's face it, Misha isn't the world's brightest spark. Well, I'll keep an eye on her for you, I say. But you should probably apologize for earlier. I don't think Hanako is cut out for that kind of joke. Oh? Oh. I didn't even notice. Sorry. Don't say it to me, just mention it to her. All right, first thing tomorrow I'll speak to her. Good, I say. A cacophony from the door heralds the return of Shizune. I guess she can't really tell how much noise she's making. Oh, Shi-chan, you're back! Shizune appears completely laden with goods from the convenience store. She begins signing. There was some surplus left from the festival. Since this is officially festival business, I've splurged a little. Nice idea, Shi-chan. 10 points. Is that really allowed, I ask? Shizune signs. For someone who refuses to join us, you seem to take an unhealthy interest in the politics of this council. I shall punish your insolence by rationing your portion of the feast. Fine, fine, I get it. Misha slides the multiple stacks of paper to one side to make room for the avalanche of food Shizune is spreading out. As I watch my hard yet misdirected work become wasted, I realize that it's little wonder why these two need help. The convenience store meal isn't overly tasty, but at the very least it's filling. Shizune signs. Thanks for helping today. Most of the time, we just make up the reports for the staff. This year, we can at least make up some relevant headings on the debrief. Are you sure this isn't a corrupt organization, I ask? Not at all, not at all. We're by the book. It's not our fault if the book isn't specific enough. I thought that was the definition of corruption. You think too much. You know what? You're probably right, I say. Anyway, I must be off. That is, if I'm allowed to leave. Shizune signs. Your work has been deemed sufficient. You may leave. Well, thank you. You know, if you stress the free meal side of things over the endless workload side, you'd probably end up with more recruits. You might just have a point. Well, think about it. And think about what we talked about. You don't have to tell that to Shizune if you don't want. What? Oh, right. I'll try and see her tomorrow. Good night, Hee-chan. Night, Misha. Shizune. Chirping birds. Normally, this would be a good time to reflect upon the beauty of nature. So we backtrack just a little bit here. Go back before the tea party and go back before our little evening in the library with Hanako. And this time we choose, instead of going with Hanako to sit in the library, we go and work with the student council. As you see, we get to spend an extended amount of time with Misha, and notice that she does have a bit of a thought of her own that goes along there, and that she truly does seem to be concerned about Hanako and is seems to be genuinely regretful that she might have hurt her feelings with the little joke she made about being a delinquent. So she is going to take care of that. Then coming back onto the line again, we had our breakfast with Lily, where she invites us to tea, and then we go to the tea party that evening. So the three of us sitting down in Lily's room for a cup of tea apiece. Very nice little interlude there. Getting used to the girls, and they are definitely seem to be getting used to having Hisao around. I mean, like he says, if two girls in their room after hours with both of them wearing their pajamas, that's got to be a step along the lines of friendship there. One thing he has to make sure of is that could also be a very clear sign of being put in the friend zone as well as it goes. So it would be interesting to see in the next episode where the friendship goes from here. It has definitely achieved a more intimate level. And one more thing before we leave, it's not an original thought to me because I did read about it on the forums, but I missed it the first time. If you look at the picture there, you'll notice two girls, one cup. Just throwing that out there.